Welcome to another edition of Coffee, Eggs and Inspiration. This one's for pilots out there and also aviation enthusiasts. I'm going to show you a short clip of some takeoff and landing procedure at White Waltham Airfield, West London Aero Club as it's otherwise known. We're going to take off on the 03, which will involve a slight deviation for noise abatement purposes shortly after takeoff. And then we'll come in from the north, from Point November, by the bend in the river near Henley, and we'll do a standard overhead join for runway 11, and it was a left-hand circuit as it usually is for runway 11. Enjoy. Just arrived at White Waltham Airfield. Beautiful morning. We'll do our checks, plan the route, and then go. Well, there's our ride. Golf Bravo Echo Mike Whiskey, PA28 181, 180 horsepower, single engine, 4 seats. Though there'll just be 3 of us today, and we've got to keep a little bit of an eye on weight. Great little, very traditional, 45 years old I think it is.
Now we're going to Scotland.
Scotland. Right, about to depart. Just packing the stuff in the back. Hopefully not too much weight. So here we go. We're just taxiing onto the threshold of 03. Quite long runways. They're around about 1,000 metres. Grass, though with good drainage underneath. So getting up to speed with 3 adults on board with full tanks here. So we needed all of the runway, and we did a technique here. You'll see James, my co-pilot there, pulling on the flaps. There's 1 and 2 halfway down. It just allows you to pick up some speed without the drag of the flaps, and then when you put the flaps on, the whole thing just lifts up like a helicopter. It's a useful technique if you're a little bit on the edge in terms of weight for runway length. There's a little turn to the left. It's about 10 degrees turn to the left for noise abatement purposes, and we're now climbing to the 500 feet target and turning onto crosswind shortly here. We'll be departing the circuit from crosswind from memory, heading north. And now we're returning. So 3 days in between. I've sped this up a little bit so you can get a sense of what we're doing in slightly faster time. So we're coming in from Point November, which is the bend in the river near Henley. I have the airfield in sight. Here we're calling overhead. It's runway 11 that we're on. We're descending on the dead side. Because it's a left-hand circuit, you want to approach the airfield with it on your left-hand side and corkscrew down, descending dead side there, and then crossing again the runway here, finding the right height, which at White Waltham is 800 feet for a circuit, and it's 1,200 feet for the overhead join. So it's quite a compressed configuration there because of the proximity to Heathrow. There we are, we're sort of in the circuit now. We're now on, looks like base, come down downwind there, we're on base, and shortly we'll be turning on final. 11's an interesting runway because the threshold there is just next to a line of trees that you can just see coming into a site there, and occasionally you've got planes waiting. I think we had one here, and they just need to put the nose, poke the nose out just to check if there's any planes on final. I think from memory here, we had a plane waiting, they didn't see us, and they said they were entering, and I did a final call, and they heard us, and then they of course held, as they should have done. So this is us coming in. I've got 3 flaps on now, looking for that speed, so you can see my eyes going down onto the dashboard quite frequently. flaring a little bit. You want to stall the plane onto the runway. That was a pretty good landing. It is quite bumpy. You kind of undulate up and down a little bit at most of the runways at White Waltham, but a pretty smooth runway after a fantastic 3-day trip to Scotland. That video is showing up in the corner if you want to check that out. Hope you enjoyed that.